I never experienced that. I was crying. I was so moved I could hardly sing the song.
Thank you so much for doing this.
Oh, I'm happy to do it. I mean, actually, I'm not doing any interviews right now. I need a little break from them, but I had to do this one because it's a place so dear to my heart, memories and present. Also, we're still working there, so I'm happy to be part of a celebration. It was, if I have it right, I think we played on John Lennon's birthday, October 9th, 1976. I could be wrong, but it seemed to me that it was John Lennon's birthday. But I know it was somewhere around there.
Wow.
And it was amazing because it was our first time. And, you know, we're all Americans, and in 1976, you could go to prison if you had a little bit of marijuana or hashish. And here's this amazing club. And then we did our sound check, and then we went down to the basement. And in those days, they had all these long tables. It was sort of like these cool, like hippie guys selling like every kind of hashish and pot you could ever see. And we were like, it was like being in Ali Baba's cave. You know, it was like, oh my gosh, you know, just everything imaginable. So that was quite exciting. As a place to play, it was great. The people were right with us right away. We didn't have to like find our way or hopefully find a connection. It was like we all connected, and that never went away. I guess I'm lucky. I'm not taking it for granted, but never had to struggle because instantly we were welcomed. And the sound is great, and it's just one of the great rock clubs in the world. Well, I mean, obviously they're change, you know, but the way they dress, the way they are, you know, 50 years ago they were, you know, maybe sometimes bringing horses to the venue. Now they'll bring my book Just Kids to the venue, or you know, it's energy, it's positive energy. It's always been great. I also had to be like 1979 or early 79. I'm not quite sure when it was. But we had a new song, Dancing Barefoot. And when you do new songs, you never know, you know, how people are going to react. Well, they like this song. I'll never forget this in my whole life. So we were about to do Dancing Barefoot. Ivan does the opening chords, you know, doom, 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 doom. And I started singing, you know, she is benediction. The whole place sang every word to a new song. I never experienced that. I was crying. I mean, it's like, you know, now it would be like being in an Adele concert, you know, but I never experienced people just immediately knowing the words and singing. And I was so moved I could hardly sing the song. Yeah. But I always remember that. I always remember people just singing, you know. The Paradiso it's got its own history. I mean, the Bowery Ballroom was, you know, fairly, you know, it was a venue where we were creating its history, but the Paradiso was, I always say it wrong, I'm sorry. They always laugh at me, but if it comes out, but it's not disrespect, it's just I pronounce everything wrong. It was, you know, we were coming to, you know, a new country, and to have a cool, everybody always said that like a lot of the cool venues were in New York City, but that was like, at the time, the coolest club in the world, I thought. You know, it's different than like CBGB's, you know, for 300 people. It has its own history. Bowery Ballroom, great. But here's a place that had something none of them had in 1976, and that's a basement, filled with hashish for one thing. But it wasn't just that, it was just the general, there was an anti-war vibe, there was both a peaceful and a high energy vibe, it's just, it was great, as a kid, I knew Holland, of course, all of Holland from reading Hans Brinker, or the story of the boy with his finger in the dike, or and of course the Diary of Anne Frank, and then we came here and it was like so progressive, and always politically progressive, cool, and just loved it here. I still do, and we stay in the same hotel. We stayed there so long that it's changed its name like 3 or 4 times. But it's always, we always say, oh, should we stay at the American Hotel? We always call it that. It's such a great thing. I know we're playing here this summer, but we even said, I know this is funny, but we're excited about playing Down the Rabbit Hole. We love the festival. But Tony, my bass player, and I were talking, and my son Jackson, we were saying, it's a little weird being here and not playing the Paradiso. Maybe we should just go at, midnight and play anyway. But it does feel a little strange, but we'll be back. I'm still going. I'm going to, we can't this year because we have the Horses tour and a lot of responsibility, but I'll be back next year. I'll be back when I'm 80, still saying Paradiso.
You're allowed to.
They said I was. They weren't mad.
I think you're the only one that's allowed to say Paradiso.
Well, it's just the way that I am. It's fair. I understand what you're saying. We have the same problem in our country. You'd think, we have the right to protest, we have the right to gather, we have the right to freedom of speech, but the present administration is finding ways to repress us, to use our own speech against us, to say the things that we're saying are, anti-government or anti-patriotic. They don't understand true patriotism, because the United States was built on the idea of dissent, and part of patriotism was asking questions, taking the streets if you must, and I know governments are getting more powerful and making people afraid, being afraid of arrested or being afraid of disappearing. So we have 2 strategies. One strategy is the herd strategy, which means get out on the street, not by a few hundred people or a few thousand, a million people. So many people, like in the time of Gandhi, that they're overwhelm them. And then the other is just never lose contact with yourself. If you're like in a situation where you have to perhaps be somewhat silent or not being able to express yourself fully, do the best you can. Know in yourself who you are and what you stand for, but also that you have to survive. It's important that we take care of our health and that we survive. And we have to do the things that we need to do to survive. And so don't doubt yourself or feel guilty because you have to shift how you express yourself, but don't let it taint your heart. Don't compromise your heart or don't compromise your mind. Think of it as strategy. It's like if you have to deal with the enemy, you don't just run in right in front of them with no protection and just let them shoot you down cold. you have to build a strategy. So you build a strategy to maneuver our present world. And both things are important, to make our numbers greater than ever, but also, you know, in terms of our own individual safety and health, just know who we are, know who you are. They can't take that away from you. I mean, they can do it, our governments can do whatever they want, but they can't disconnect goodness. And that's the number criteria now, to me, be a good person. Our administration has made words seem like bad words. Diversity, equality, actually taking them out of, you know, the, like scrubbing them, banning books like Catcher in the Rye or Tom Sawyer, Romeo and Juliet. You know, they're imposing their narrow, you know, interpretation, and they're all speaking about how they, you know, believe in the Bible and read the Bible. They haven't read the New Testament. I don't care how many times they go to church, because they don't understand any of Christ's principles, which are completely love-based. And so it's painful in so many ways. Even trying to make things like you can only protest on these streets and only like this many people, to try to divide us up. They have so many things that they're doing, but you know, where there is goodness, there is also intelligence, compassion, and wisdom, and new ideas. And so, do the best you can. Do the best you can. Sometimes we have to go underground.
Yeah.
And this might be one of them. We're off to go underground, but we'll be back.
We'll build an underground paradise.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, if you do, I'll be there.
Yeah, you'll be the first we look, of course.
I mean, for me, you know, I'm 78 years old. I've been through many, many movements, many great things, many disappointments. But I see what everyone, especially young people, are up against now. And, you know, you just, I have faith in you. Don't lose faith in yourself.